If you clicked on this video, you're most likely one of two people. One, this guy, who's lost, mentally unstable, chasing instant gratification, and he has no direction for his life. Or two, this guy. You started to evolve a little bit. You're starting to work on yourself. You might have developed a skill. You're extremely good at what you do. You might have a good job, high-performing athlete. And to the outside world, you might look like you have it together, but inside, you're looking for meaning and purpose in your life. And whichever one of those guys you are, I have something for you in the description, and let's get into the video. The road to purpose. Obviously, I had to use a photo of me walking down the road, right? So let me zoom this out. Let me show the next layer here. Zoom back in. Okay, so we have a unique problem. Why is this problem unique? The problem I wouldn't say is unique, but the way that you are going to solve said problem is unique. And I would say that solving some type of problem could be a purpose, right? A lot of people are experiencing pain. I would argue for me, which is the road I'm going to go down, the mental health road, is that inner peace is the most coveted, most sought after thing in this life. So I would argue that's a big problem to solve, right? And the way that I'm going to solve it through my experiences and the things that I went through to get to the answer is going to be something completely different than you. That's why we have a unique problem. Okay, so my unique problem, just going to use myself. I had mental health issues. I had lack of purpose, no foundation. Basically, I was a pussy. It's just what it comes down to, okay? I was drinking. I was smoking weed. I was on antidepressants. I was having sex with a lot of girls. I had multiple girlfriends, side chicks, all this stuff going on. I was always chasing instant gratification. This is a picture of me, and I was a weak man. Okay, and now I want to get into the next layer over here. We'll zoom back out. Okay, all right, so now we have the call, okay? What is the call? The call is to solve the problem. And again, there's a lot more things in between, but I wanted to try to make this as simple as possible. The call is the call to solve the problem. Here's what you can do. You have your unique problem here, right? Mental health issues, lack of purpose, no foundation in my life. And now we can literally go get the call, solve the problem, and move on, okay? But what do most men do, and what did I do? I ignored the problem. And then we go down this road. And look at how long this road is, right? I don't want to show you everything, but look at how long this is, okay? So instead of just getting the call, jumping over, let's solve the problem, let's pass go, monopoly, let's ignore the problem, Nate. When a man lacks purpose, he will seek pleasure, okay? Here we go. Years and years and years of drinking, girls, drowning my pain, quote unquote, which was no pain, right? I didn't have any pain going on. This was new, real pain. I was literally lacking purpose in my life, which if you lack purpose, you lack direction. If I don't have anywhere to go, I can kind of mess around and just do whatever I want, okay? And so here I am drinking, again, drinking, again, smoking weed all the time, girls, all the things. Okay, and then you kind of, and this is a couple years, 18 to maybe 22-ish, okay, so 4 years or so, and this is really all I did. I worked, I drank, and I smoked, and that was it, okay? And then I think a lot of men go through this, is there's some evolution, but there's more distraction, okay? Your mind and time is always occupied with work or hobbies. So this is when I started writing. Now, one thing I want to make very, very clear, and I want to make the screen big here, is I do not for 1 second regret throwing my leg over this bike, ever, okay? My whole entire stunt riding journey, I believed, was a sharpening process for the man that I am today, right now, to actually go ahead and get involved and be even in alignment and being a man capable of taking on my purpose. So I want to just lay that out there because it kind of looks like that I'm saying that going down this road was a mistake with the bike, right? But what I want to say is at this point, I'm still acting like a little boy, right? When I say there's some evolution, I was really into self-development. I was really into the gym. I was extremely focused on the bike. I became one of the, I would argue, and this is, obviously my opinion, one of the top 10 street riders in the country. But the back end of my life was an absolute disaster. My finances were a disaster. My, mental health was still a disaster. All my relationships were still a disaster. I was still doing the multiple girlfriend thing, and it was a mess, bro. And again, if you're doing that, like, I don't care. It's not something that I subscribe to. Okay, so my life was an absolute disaster. Everything was a lie. I was hiding behind all this, but watch this. More distraction. Okay, what do I mean by this? I only feel good. The only time I feel like I'm at peace is when I'm on the bike, which means I'm on the bike all the time, right? Which means I got good at it, right? And that's a whole nother story for a different day. But men will do this with work, right? They'll do this with money. They'll do this with hobbies. This is right here. For Nate, this was the hobby, okay? So watch this. If I'm occupying all my time with this, right? And then this comes with what? Its own problems, right? Here's Nate battling a court case. So these are not real challenges. Okay, this is something that I want to say. For a real stand-up man that handles his business, take care of his family, which is what I promote now in my life, these challenges right here are not real challenges. Learning, again, I do not regret anything about the bike, period, because it made me the man I am today in order to handle my purpose, period. Okay. And I say that, but these hurdles of basically, just throwing my whole life into breaking the law, was not a real challenge. Okay. Again, did I gain a lot of skills? And I wouldn't be even sitting here making these videos or have the things that I have or run my own business or even sitting here with you guys right now, able to describe what I'm trying to describe if I didn't go through this. Absolutely. But at this point in my life, this could have taken less priority and I still could have been just as good, but I could have been solving all the issues that I actually needed to solve, which is, again, my personal life was an absolute disaster. So all I did was ride and work, which is what you see a lot of men do. And why do we continue down this road? Because we will see fruit. We will see results, right? Guys will obsess themselves. And again, if you have a healthy relationship with work, salute to you, okay? But a lot of guys will get into a hobby or get into work and they will do it so much because that's their only escape from not cleaning up their life and actually grasping onto something that's meaningful to them in this life, right? So they will continue to do this and do this and do this. And the more success they see, they're going to continue to chase it and chase it and chase it and chase it, because this ends up being cheap, instant gratification, right? Obviously, again, why I say there's some evolution here is because you have to evolve in some way, shape, or form to get any type of success in something else besides just throwing your life away. I mean, this is pretty easy, right? But at this point where I was here, there's some evolution that goes on. I stopped drinking actually and smoking and doing all these things because of the bike. And that's why I said there was a little bit of self-development going on. But for my actual God-given purpose that I believe we have in this life, this was just a pillar of it, okay? So when you go down this long road here, instead of getting the call and then just jumping over to solve the problem, and you ignore the problem, and you do all this stuff, right? Here's what happens. So I don't want to show all that here. Okay. I'm going to start down here. Okay. You get wisdom from all this. So again, I don't regret all of this at all. Made me who I am, right? Because there is so much wisdom that I can go and share, and I'm going to get into the next part where we need this, right? But there's so much wisdom that I can share from those experiences. Okay? Now, again, instead of just jumping straight across the board, look what we have to do here. we have to go all the way back. And on this all the way back here, see if I can fix this. On this all the way back here, this extremely long road, obviously, again, this is a short summary version of it. You realize all the damages that were done, the loss, the brokenness, all of the stuff that you have to clean up, that I had to clean up from, bro, ruining girls' lives. Like, just stealing years from them, lying to them, all this stuff, that karmic debt that I was in, that I had to pay with my own mental pain. And then I'm all the way going back here to then go and answer the call. Okay. So again, let's not do this. Again, there is wisdom in this. Okay. But you can have your problem. You can get the call to answer it or solve the problem, and you can just hop right over and solve this thing. Or you go all the way down here, and this is what most men do. But again, I believe that the broken people like me, right, are able to connect, and that's why, I had to go through all those things. But now, okay, here we are. We want to solve the problem. Now Nate wants to hide that. Now Nate wants to solve the problem. Okay, so I want to play a video that just gets me super jacked up. It's one of my favorite scriptures in the Bible. It's Isaiah 6:8. And this, man, I hear this and I watch this all the time, and it just makes me think of my purpose and my calling.
Here's a Bible verse I think about sometimes. Here's a Bible verse. Here's a Bible verse I think about sometimes. Many times. It goes, "Then I heard the voice of the Lord saying, Whom shall I send? And who will go for us?" And I said, "Here am I. Send me."
Wow, bro, that just gets me juiced. So, man, so this is Isaiah in scripture in the Bible getting his call to spread the message, right? And man, like I said, I just absolutely love that verse. I love that part of the movie, because that's the call to solve the problem that you need to solve right there. Who should go and solve this problem, right? And I would argue this guy right here, Nate, was always looking for challenges. I was an athlete when I was younger. Right here with the bike, I always wanted the smoke. There was never a time where if somebody called me out, I would not pull up. Men are competitive in their nature, okay? So let's compete for something that actually can make a dent here in humanity and not just serve ourselves, right? So who shall I send to solve this problem that Nate was dealing with, right? Send me. I want to go, okay? So now you want to answer the call, okay? I want to zoom in on this real quick. This is a lifelong journey of conquest. This is a lifelong journey to solve this problem. I made another video previously. Happy men set goals that never end. Why? Because they never hit that finish line syndrome. There's always somebody else to serve. There's always somebody else to help solve this problem that you've solved, okay? So now you find your avatar, and this is your why, okay? Because when we solve our own problem, and then you have the answer to, again, what I believe, inner peace is something that's the most sought after thing in this life. I have the problem to it. I solved it. Then what? I just move on with my life? No, I want to go back, and I want to help people do that. So who's my avatar? A lot of people, you can use your younger self, right? I use my kids. So for me, what I tell myself with my family, with my wife and kids, is that I want my son to one day look at me when he's older and say, Dad, I want to be just like you. Everything that you displayed as a man, I want to emulate. If I could be like you, that would be a goal of mine. And that's huge for me. I want my daughters, my 2 daughters here, I want my daughters to want to marry a man like me. I think the biggest L in your life that I could ever take in my life, I was going to say, I had 2 thoughts there. Paint a biggest picture of a biggest L in your life. For me, when I paint that picture of the biggest L, it's that my son would look at me and say, I don't want to be anything like you. Or my daughters would look at me and say, I don't want to marry a man like you. Or my wife could say to me, you didn't do your best. You didn't step up. You're not the man that I know you could be. That would be the biggest L for me. So this is my avatar. This is who I serve. This is my why. Okay. And then this is my other for this guy. This guy that, again, was really just a pussy. Nobody could tell him shit. He wouldn't take advice from anybody, even though he was suffering, right? You couldn't tell him anything. You couldn't tell him that the pills weren't going to work. You couldn't tell him the drugs, the pills, the antidepressants. I didn't do drugs. The weed wasn't going to work. The booze wasn't going to work. The girls wasn't going to work. It's all a black hole. Couldn't tell him anything. I want to figure out how I can speak to this guy right here. So with all this in this journey, okay, comes this. Some sort of discovery of self, a spiritual awakening, skills acquisition, new perspectives, I spelled that wrong, chains broken, problem solved, okay? So for me, it was a spiritual awakening. God is now the center of my life, and this is how I believe that I have gotten help fixing all these problems, breaking these chains, and things are not going to continue in my family. Divorce is not going to continue in my family. I'm going to lead my family down the narrow path. Anybody knows scripture knows that, the narrow path is the way, right? This was the wide road back here. You now go back and shine the light. So this is me shining the light. This is the Good Fight Club. This is my program for men that are here in mental turmoil, okay? Bad habits, no purpose, wasting their life away. These guys that are just running from their problem, and they want to get to here. And and they have a big purpose in their life. So if that's something that resonates with you, if you like this video, I have 2 links in the description. One is for application for the Good Fight Club. Another one is a men's group that meets every single Sunday for the last 3 years. I hope to see you inside. Don't forget to like this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.